Aloha, my name is Hejang Kim and I am a math teacher at Iolani School in the state of Hawaii. And my Unit 4 final project is an infographic on trigonometry, and more specifically, the Pythagorean identities within trigonometry. So I brought in my infographic in to explain everything just so I could record and write over the infographic while I'm explaining. The first thing that I have here is a right triangle labeled so that the students can see where the formulas come from and what I'm referring to in the yellow parts of the infographic. So first of all, I set the hypotenuse to be 1 to make things easier for the triangle to work. And the angle I labeled X. And because the hypotenuse is 1, when you look at the opposite side of the angle, which sine would be opposite over hypotenuse, but because the hypotenuse is set to be 1, this would just be sine, and then the other side with the same principle would be just cosine of x. So using that, the very first identity, which students tend to remember, is the sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1, just using Pythagorean on the above triangle. So back to that one. And then the next two are the ones that students tend to forget or have them all confused. So instead of having them memorize it, what I tend to do is have them just remember one of them, which this is the basic one that I would like for them to remember, and from that derive the rest. So the first operation that is done is dividing by sine squared on both sides. So one side of the equation along with the other, and from that you get this identity. And similarly for the next one, if you're dividing the equation by cosine squared of the angle, then you get this last equation here. So that's my infographic. And from my peer review, Neha mentioned to change the font if I wanted to print it, so this white font sometimes might be difficult to see. So I did make another infographic just changing that font size to blue, so I will post both of those on my website. And also to look at some of the color schemes, I browsed through Canva to see what was out there, and I borrowed some of the color schemes from the templates that were already there. And when I got to the font, I decided to use one throughout for all the mathematics that was involved, and also a different one for all the instructions that are there. So I just browsed through and checked out which one spoke to me the best, and I didn't want students to be taken back by all the mathematics. So I included simple calculations that they could understand without giving too much detail, and also leaving room to ask questions if they weren't connecting with the infographic. And one of the things that my cohort member said in the feedback was just how the white with the yellow wasn't popping enough for the students to see. So that's why I have two variations of this infographic that will be uploaded. And just having the title stand out more than the other ones, but including Pythagorean identities at the very top, just to give detail on what the infographic is about. Thank you so much for your time. Aloha.